take a look at the depth, and in a moment we'll look at the breadth. But first, let's look at the depth of your network. Now, a lot of the concepts that I'm using here come from the seminal work by Dr. Kayla Farron. She is the president and founder of an organization called Mastery Works. Their copyright is on some of my slides. I brought one of her books. It's called Who's Running Your Career? And I have several other books that afterwards, if you'd like to take a look at these, feel free to do so. A lot of the concepts that we covered tonight are in this particular book. But the idea of acquaintances, allies, and advocates, I think, is really helpful when you look at your network. So acquaintances are all the people that you know. I'd be willing to bet, at least in my Facebook network, there's some folks in there that I put kind of even farther removed than acquaintances. They're high school friends or college friends that I really haven't talked to since then. And the nature of that conversation would not likely be about either of our professions. It would be about our families and things like that. But for our purposes tonight, acquaintances, allies, and advocates. So acquaintances are all the people that you know and that would know you and know you on a first-name basis, may have some sense of what you're trying to accomplish with your career. Allies goes a little deeper. Now, these are the folks that not only know you, but they have a sense of what you're about. And they might even be willing to spend a little of their own political capital to stop a rumor. So if there's a meeting and you're not in it, and somebody makes a comment about you or your character, your allies might say, you know, that's not been my experience with that person. They might challenge that. Or they may not say anything in that context, but they may come back to you to let you know that happened, so that you have a chance to manage your reputation. And then lastly is advocates. Advocates goes much, much deeper. When someone is willing to advocate for you, they will, they're thinking ahead. They're the person that will hold the mirror up to you. And when you say something to them that you're trying to do, and they say, I don't know, that's not in keeping with what you told me you were going to do. So it's that real transparent relationship, one that goes beyond just purely trusting, but where they're invested in your success. Now, if you think about what it takes to maintain each of these relationships, Facebook and LinkedIn may be all that you need to maintain the acquaintances. Allies, a little bit different. You're going to need more than just an electronic connection to them. These are the people that you get together with some regularity and have lunch, or maybe you meet them in the context of a professional association, and you sit with them and you talk about the issues, and you email with them. There's more activity there. And then those advocates, wow, the care and feeding of advocates, you got to be really careful about the people that you treat in that way, or that how many you have, because you need to be able to maintain those relationships fairly deeply. There's another level that sort of goes even deeper, but it also takes a little bit different tack. I know how important scholarly research is here at the university. That's why I brought my copy of Working Mother magazine. This is actually, my wife had this, and I was flipping through, and I was surprised to see several articles that relate to the topic here. There's one in this issue called Building Your Network, and that one's about the employee resource groups, so groups within an organization that align around commonality, whether it's African Americans in the organization, or it's geographical representation. There's lots of different ways that those employee network groups go. And then there was another article that was really on point to our issue today. Get back here to that section. From Building Your Network, it goes to Friends in High Places. This particular article talks about sponsors. There are many organizations out there who have designated sponsors in an organization who are working with proteges, working with people in their department, outside of their department, that are several layers below them, or levels below them. It's an emerging trend, and one that's giving people that might not have access to those resources more and more resources. This is particularly prevalent in organizations where women and minorities are getting a different perspective and being given a lift in your organization. So this whole area of looking at your network and understanding who your acquaintances, allies, and advocates are, and then beginning to look for both mentors and sponsors within your organization which will be a way that you can manage your network. The breadth of your network, often we think about our network without really dividing it up. But really, there are lots of different circles. In the Venn diagram of your network, you could easily have these 4. So whether it's in your organization, in your profession, in your industry, or in your personal life, the one that I'd like to highlight here is really profession. I talk to people all the time who are confident that they've got enough of a network because they know all the senior leaders in their organization. If you haven't defined your profession, okay, so companies come and go. There's mergers, acquisitions, industries ebb and flow, but it's professions that have lasting impact. So that's where your profession is where the advanced degrees are, where associations are, publications, research is done within that profession. If you aren't networking within your profession, then it reduces your ability to add value for your company, and you're missing an opportunity to grow and develop and be able to move within the industry to other organizations. Okay, so I would just strongly have you, we talked about the title of this entire presentation is Building Your Professional Network. It's really understanding the concept of profession as opposed to industry or even the job that you're doing. You're a part of this larger profession. This chart is something that you can replicate on your own, and it's a matrix of the depth and breadth. So I would strongly encourage you to think about your network in these terms and create yourself a spreadsheet or just a simple piece of paper and map out where are all your acquaintances. Are they in your personal life? Are they in your profession? Are they in your industry? And then where are those allies? And lastly, where are those advocates? Then you can begin to make some decisions about, do I have enough of one or the other? And so if I've got some I don't have enough of the allies, but I've got acquaintances that I'd like to invest in to grow them to be allies. I may never tell them that they're an ally. That's just kind of an internal label for you. But the best way to move somebody from being an acquaintance to an ally is to invest in them. Step into them. Find out how you can help them. And that tends to come around. All right, I'm going to move, again, some of the benefits of doing this. Do I have any Boy Scouts in my midst? When I look at this list, it really does feel like, be trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, 50, brave, clean, and reverent. So, do all the things that you say you're going to do. But I'm pointing out 2 of these. I think that of this list, some of the things are what you do internally, but speaking well of others is something that we can be proactive about doing. So when we step into other people's lives, we help them manage their own reputation, we build them up in strong ways. I think that goes a long way to showing our own character and showing that we care about folks. And then the second one, giving more than you get. I can't tell you how often I've heard people say, I spent 20 years of my career being really good at producing a lot of results in my organization, but I didn't network professionally, or I always ate at my desk, and then their job gets eliminated, and they're standing there feeling like, oh, what am I going to do next? And what they start to do is help out. They start to volunteer. They start to reach out to people. And consistently, people tell me, if only I had been doing this all the way along. So you're at a pivotal point in your careers. Invest in your own career by investing in others. All right, mentors. So Jeff made a reference to us being in a mentor-mentee relationship. And I mentioned that it was really focused on what does it mean to have a professional network and to engage in networking within your profession. So that's where we concentrated on. But there's lots of other aspects of your life where you could have a mentor-mentee relationship. So a mentor is someone who knows more about a specific area of expertise than you do, and then a mentor relationship is setting up that partnership. There's lots of benefits to being a mentor, but the 2 that I want to point out here is, one is to deepen and broaden your network inside and outside of the organization. So this goes to giving you access to the places where you can give back and get involved. and then open career options and broader career visibility. It would be easy to take that as, if I have a mentor, I'll be able to get promoted faster. Understand that managing your career is not always about up. And when you take ownership of your career, you may identify that I'm here today and I want to be here tomorrow, and there's no straight line. Mentors can help you see that you might need to take a step over here in order to go up. Or they might be able to open the door for you to move straight across. So it really is a process of identifying where do I have gaps in my understanding within my profession or within my organization or within my marriage. I mean, there's lots of different phases or aspects of your life where others that have more expertise than you can be helpful. So one of the things that I have for you, any of you that want it, I've got a supply of an assessment. It's called the Mentor Smart Assessment. This has got a series of questions that you go through and answer and self-score in each of the areas that are pointed out on this particular chart. You see that I just lifted the graphic off of this. This assessment is designed to help you take a look at yourself in a critical way and identify the degree to which you have enough understanding in each of these areas of your life. There could be other areas, but this is a great start. By doing so, you end up with a score. And from that score, in the areas of career awareness or industry or profession or trade, you start to recognize this is an area that I need to identify true experts and begin to work with them and seek them out. Okay? We could spend a whole other session on how do you engage with a mentor, but really I want to leave you with some simple thoughts. From a next step standpoint, I encourage you to assess your network by looking at how many advocates, allies, and advocates you have. But then as it relates to a mentor, the strongest thing I can recommend for you here is make sure that you make a time bound. It can be very intimidating to try and reach out to somebody and say, I want you to be my mentor forever. And I've got questions about everything. My life is a mess. So if you really want to reach out to somebody, you can say, I've admired you, or people tell me that you are the person I ought to know as it relates to fill in the blank. How decisions are made in this organization, the kinds of professional organizations I should join and why. Whatever it is, I'd like to enter into a relationship with you for a defined period of time. Here's what I know I'm going to get out of that. I have some ideas about how that might be beneficial for you. Can we talk about that? Okay, so talk about the what, the why, the how, and then that time bound. And then just look for other ways that you can help them. After you've done that, each of these two things, you'll have lots of accomplishments that you can celebrate. So I'm going to turn things back over to Jeff. I appreciate your attention, and if there are questions, we'll take those in the Q&A. Thank you.
All right, just a few words too. First of all, what was interesting when I first started working with Jeff, when he was my mentor, was I didn't realize I was going to get homework assignments. And so, for instance, like the Mentor, Smart Guide, and a few other documents or assessments that he gave me, I actually took them home. I'd work on them before the next sessions. They were actually very helpful. So we do have some up here that you can pick up after the presentations. They're really great tools to have. The other thing too is, Jeff touched upon a lot of great themes in his presentation, but the one that always resonated with me the most is what can you give back to other people? Okay, because again, there's that whole me-centered network philosophy, and really it's give and take. You're sharing with other people, so that's what I think is really important to come away with.